So Sam Altman came up with this notion of the billion-dollar one-person company. And to take it a step further, in 2026, we're now seeing companies that are 0 employees, basically autonomous agents that are, in theory, running their own companies and generating revenue. One of these examples that has been going viral is Nat Eliason, who has an agent bot, Felix Craft, who created a marketplace of agents. And I think it's really interesting. It is generating revenue and it is a business. But there are some shifts that are going on that are impacting all marketers and really all of us, I think, maybe feeling this existential crisis of what actually happens when the price of what we were doing once that is nearing 0. So content price, what once cost, say, $500 to a couple $1,000s for a blog post, now is essentially free with the use of an AI. You can even just use a chatbot. Also, who we're writing for, the audience has changed significantly. Whereas before you would be writing for people. The shift towards the audience being an LLM, that you are writing for visibility and citations in a large language model. That's a shift that's going on. And the next step of that is that the agents will actually be the ones making the purchase. So it's no longer that the human will be going to the chat bot to identify what the best CRM is, for example, but they'll actually be making the decision. So all of a sudden that makes content that we are writing for a bot. And so not only do we need to optimize that, but also is a blog even necessary, or do you need an API? But before I go too much into this, like what I think is actually the near future, I want to share some of this experiment that I started yesterday with Vibe Marketers. So I have this site, vibemarketers.ai. Right now, just this notion of vibe marketing is that you can do all these things with Claude Code or AI tools that you wouldn't be able to do historically. So it's both an overview of the playbooks, so the processes of how you do things, and then the tools, and then there's a blog. All this I've done so far with Claude Code and just AI generating it. I want to see how far I can take this if I have an OpenClaw agent running this. I created an OpenClaw agent. This was just yesterday. I call it Viv. And so this is like the very start of the process. So right now you can have multiple agents. I have one here, Ash. This is Viv. So right now, when you are working with an OpenClaw agent, this is a blank slate. This is your opportunity to give everything in terms of the background, the context, the goals, the expectations, what you're looking to do with this bot. So I am doing this now. I added basically a Claude.md file, which is going to be an overview of what we're looking to do with this project. And I'm not even sure really what the goal is. It to create good content. I want to use this to test the different tools to see how Claude Code can be the engine for creating the content, but then how it can actually be organized, strategized, and then autonomously run with this OpenClaw bot, Viv. So right now, this is at the very early stages, and this is something that I want to use as a learning ground, a testing ground, something that I'll share here in terms of how OpenClaw works, how Claude Code works, and then how this actually translates into what really matters, which is visibility in large language models, or how we can create this content, craft this content specific to improving awareness, citations, and visibility. So what this looks like, this experiment will be on vibemarketers.ai. It'll be a tool review. So ideally, I'd be able to use the tools myself. Otherwise, it would just be gathering what's on the web already together into a well-written review of the post. And then ultimately it will be Claude Code that is the brains of the operation. And then Viv, the OpenClaw agent, would be actually running it in terms of creating the content calendar, the strategy, the ways to monetize. So I did give it directions that we're trying to see how you can monetize with content. This is something as well that is shifting. How are affiliate commissions working? In terms of the monetization, just some early thoughts is maybe it's going to be an affiliate commission model, or maybe it will be digital products in terms of the prompts or Claude Code skills or anything. But ultimately, can it be an agent to agent type transaction that is being set up? So a quick look at where I'm at now. This is in Visual Studio Code, and this is a very start of, I'll walk through this in another video, but just in an initial chat, getting this set up. So this is a folder that I would have on my local computer and then add to GitHub as well. And it would ultimately be like, we're going to do the keyword research. I'm thinking the tools there would be data for SEO and maybe keywords everywhere, maybe Ahrefs or SEMrush as well. And then maybe we'd be tracking it in these different LLM prompt visibility tools. Maybe it's Profound or AirOps. To start, I think I really just want to get the foundation together and start sharing that, because I think that there's so much to learn. That is it at a high level, is that I'll be using Claude Code and OpenClaw to run a site and ideally see how much can be done and what the quality is for a 0 employee machine. And if you follow along, you'll see how to create content, how to set it up in Claude Code, how OpenClaw works, and all of this. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, drop a comment. Would love to hear the best ways or how I could expand this or what might be added to the roadmap in order to make this most effective. So that's it for me, again, from supermarketers.ai. Thanks so much.